Hey, it's Mickey Mon. It's about 7 o'clock Sunday morning here in Las Vegas. Out for my little morning walk, about 3 miles. It's already 84 degrees here. Supposed to get up to, I think, 108 today, so I'm glad I'm out right now. I wanted to talk about the Second Amendment rights, which says, in effect, the government won't restrict a organized militia from the people joining this organized militia the right to bear arms. Now, does that mean every citizen has the right to bear arms, or just people in an organized militia? There's been a lot of controversy. Gun rights owners believe that it means everyone has a right to bear arms, to own and possess guns. The U.S. Constitution says it's an organized militia, which means, an organized militia is like an army. Members meet and practice. But, gun violence is getting worse and worse. Moved from Portland. Portland's a lot of people have guns and are shooting each other, and I think in the particularly in the inner cities, it's going to get worse and worse, and people probably have to arm themselves in order to protect themselves. The Supreme Court said that felons and mentally ill should not possess firearms. I can understand that. I mean, the old thing said is when guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns, convicted felons. But also, the DEA and the Justice Department are saying anybody associated, particularly medical marijuana users, that have a card license them to use medical marijuana, should not possess a firearm. And what the Justice Department, the DEA, are saying that they're cannabis users, whether recreational or medical, are participating in a felonious criminal activity, so they should not have the right to bear arms. Personally, I think they should probably outlaw all firearms for humans, but people need to protect themselves from other crazy ass humans, and it's unfortunate but true. I mean, humans are emotionally based individuals that operate on greed, anger, hostility, revenge. They just go crazy. And police carry firearms. And, I'd hate to have to be in a job where, I'm threatened all the time. And, liable. You pull up on someone, you stop them for a routine traffic violation, and they pull out a gun and shoot you. So I can understand how police think, and they have to make split-second decisions about things. But I think the advent of a civilized society is the RoboCop scenario, where you have artificial intelligent robot police maintaining law and order, but they don't have deadly weapons or deadly force weapons. They have weapons like stun guns. Somebody acts up and they don't comply, they get zapped. And then they're dealt with in a reasonable manner, not just like it is now. And it's gotten out of hand with use of deadly force. What's the answer? I don't know, but I do know that I'm lucky to be out here walking and I'm not in prison, because I am a convicted felon. I was convicted of involuntary manslaughter back in, I think it was 1996, for performing dental surgery on a patient that died. I was doing the job I was trained to do and been experienced in for 12 years. Bad outcome. State board found me liable for wrongdoing. They suspended my license for 2 years. And I decided to get out of dentistry and became a stockbroker. Did very well at that, but in the meantime, after I had my license suspended, I was sued for $6 million. And being in a new profession, I went from, I did quite well as a dental surgeon, but lost all that, lost everything, and started new as a new stockbroker. So I started over and declared bankruptcy. Well, the lawyer that sued me, they got everything, I didn't have $6 million worth of malpractice insurance. So the lawyer that sued me, he got himself appointed special prosecutor by his ex-college roommate, the Tarrant County District Attorney. And what I heard, he spent $2 million on personal money on prosecuting me. Paid witnesses. I heard that he gave, I got indicted, had the indictment quashed twice, and then came back a third time, and I got a direct indictment in a court that the attorney gave a this is what I heard, gave a $250,000 political contribution to him, and the judge allowed him to come into court and prosecute me, serving as the prosecutor. And trial went on for about 3.5 weeks. God, it was like war. And and I ended up getting convicted, but it was terrible sham. He's a good lawyer, or good at what he does, and I spent $250,000. I did give the judge, through my attorney, a $10,000 political contribution, but it palled in comparison to $250,000. So, I consider that, by all intents and purposes, a bribe. But evidently, it is perfectly ethical for an attorney to give a political contribution to a judge and then appear before that judge to plead a case. They said that judges and attorneys are so ethical that there wouldn't be any conflict of interest. As far as I'm concerned, that's bullshit. That was a bribe. But, I heard all kinds of things, but the bottom line is, what I have heard also is that attorney is a pedophile for little boys. This is what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but, when I went to work in the law library when I was in prison, I worked as a clerk there and filed my own habeas corpus. And my basis on it was ineffective assistance of counsel, but primarily a conflict of interest for a an attorney, violation of the 4th, 5th, 11th, and 14th Amendments, saying there's a conflict of interest and is unethical. Also filed a complaint with the State Bar of Texas for violation of that. But what happened was, my attorney, I asked him, I said, can't you find a way to have this guy disqualified? And he said, no, he couldn't find it. Well, I also found out my attorney, I asked him if he knew this attorney who he was a member of the Democratic National Committee. He hosted a private $100,000 a plate dinner in his home for Hillary Clinton as president, a $10,000 a plate dinner for Bill Clinton and Al Gore. As I mentioned, he was a former member of the Democratic National Committee. So I went up against big guns and lost. But what the Supreme Court had ruled, I found this out, it ruled there was a group of individuals. They were making knockoff Louis Vuitton luggage in Jamaica, New York. And a lawyer for Louis Vuitton filed a infringement of trademark against them, won, and they got an injunction to stop. The group got an injunction to stop making Louis Vuitton luggage. Well, about a year later, they were doing it again, and the Louis Vuitton lawyer, complained to the U.S. attorney. U.S. attorney didn't give a fuck, and so the corporate attorney for Louis Vuitton asked if he could file a criminal complaint charge, a felony criminal complaint charge. And the U.S. attorney said, yeah, go ahead, run with it. And so he did, and he got a conviction against the people making knockoff Louis Vuitton luggage. And it went through the appellate courts to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said that was wrong, that that an attorney involved in a civil case could come back and become prosecutor in a criminal case. It goes against the tenets of justice. Well, what ended up happening, I did what's called shepherdizing. I researched similar cases, and there's lots of cases like this. There was one in the Fifth Circuit about stockbrokers. They did that. Fifth Circuit turned it over. Other ones, there was one in the Texas Court, several in the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals about people doing Medicare fraud. And the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, what they said, the proper venue is not in the criminal courts or appellate courts, but it's an ethics violation, and the proper venue is to file a complaint with the state bar, which I did. All these were denied without comment. They didn't want to do anything about someone as powerful as this lawyer. Bottom line, I should not have been convicted, or I should have got a fair trial with an impartial jury, and I didn't. I was subsequently convicted. I spent 4 years in prison for this, which I wouldn't recommend to anybody as a life experience that you want to go through. But, I was a protected individual. It was really easy time for me. It wreaked havoc on my life. Lost everything then again. And, I'd had, the story about my search engine that just almost came to fruition. That's neither here nor there. What it is, it's, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, whatever, you know. I think I got a raw deal. And when they came to arrest me on a Saturday morning. This was in November, no, I think it was December 4th, I think. It was on a Saturday, 1998, at 6 in the morning, and the Dallas County Sheriff's Department got the indication from the Tarrant County Justice Department was that I was an escaped fugitive wanted for murder to be considered armed and dangerous. I'd been out on appeal bond, and I lived in a house, so they came, knocked on the door, pounded on the door, 6 a.m. in the morning, and I got up. All I had on was shorts, no shirt, no shoes, nothing. Opened the door, and there were 12 SWAT members putting red dots on my chest, and the lieutenant, said my name and asked me to come outside, and I thought, this is over. And I came outside. They cuffed me and stuffed me, and somebody started to go in to my house, another member of the SWAT, and I asked the lieutenant, I said, where's he going? I had the composure for that. Where's he going? Because they had me right then for, it was for, the warrant was for me. It wasn't to come check my house. So I called them in, but my 2 chow dogs they weren't going to let anyone in. What would have happened? They would have shot my dogs and found my pound of weed and my loaded Glock that was on the coffee table. And I didn't realize at the time, but I happened to be within 600 feet of a public slide, a public playground. So I would have been charged as an existing convicted felon with possession of cannabis to the level of with intent to deliver, and a firearm. So I'd probably still be in prison. This was in 1998, and I got it out in 2002. So, it's my contention is, I would like to be able to have a firearm to protect myself, because we're going to be in some crazy days the next 6 years. I'm glad I'm not in Portland, because that's going to be even crazier. This is Uncle Budsy Mickey Mon saying y'all have a good day.